صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. عبس وتولى أن جاءه الأعمى وما يدريك لعله يزكى أو يذكر فتنفعه الذكرى أما من استغنى فأنت له تصدى وما عليك ألا يزكى وأما من جاءك يسعى وهو يخشى فأنت عنه تلهى كلا إنها تذكرة فمن شاء ذكره في صحف مكرمة مرفوعة مطهرة بأيدي سفرة كرام بررة قتل الإنسان ما أكفره من أي شيء خلقه من نطفة خلقه فقدره ثم السبيل يسره ثم أماته فأقبره ثم إذا شاء أنشره ثم إذا شاء أنشره كلا لما يقض ما أمره فلينظر الإنسان إلى طعامه أنا صببنا الماء صبا ثم شققنا الأرض شقا فأنبتنا فيها حبا وعنبا وقضبا وزيتونا ونخلا وحدائق غلبا وفاكهة وأبا متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. فإذا جاءت الصاخة يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه وجوه يومئذ مسفرة ضاحكة مستبشرة ووجوه يومئذ عليها غبرة ترهقها قترة أولئك هم الكفرة الفجرة. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وتبع هداه ثم أما بعد. Inshallah, we're continuing the text, the reading of the text, the Ramadan lounging sessions, and we reached to the section on the conditions of fasting. And there are 6 conditions for fasting. Some of them are conditions of obligation, and some of them are both conditions of obligation and validity. And we'll just quickly mention them, and when we explain the text in more detail in Ramadan, inshallah, we'll go through the legal details and evidences. The first condition, dear brothers and sisters, is Islam. Islam is a condition for fasting. And so it is not obligatory, nor is it valid from the non-Muslim. And if a non-Muslim accepts Islam, they are not asked to make up the days in the Ramadans that passed them in the past that they left off and didn't fast before they were Muslim. So they don't have to make up the Ramadans that came before that they didn't fast, nor do they have to make up the days of that month that they had missed. Well, what if he accepted Islam in the middle of a day, in the middle of the day of Ramadan? Does he have to make up that day or not? And does he have to abstain from eating and drinking for the rest of the day? This is a different upon matter, and we'll talk about that inshallah when we explain the text in more detail. Also, dear brothers and sisters, the second condition for the conditions of fasting is puberty. And so, it is not obligatory upon the one who has not reached puberty yet to fast. As for the child who reaches the age of puberty during the day in Ramadan, do they have to make up that day, and do they have to abstain from eating and drinking for the rest of the day? Then we'll talk about that in more detail, inshallah, in the future. The third condition is sanity. So fasting is not obligatory, nor is it valid from the insane person. And here the ulama talk about various cases of losing the intellect. So they talk about what if someone is asleep the entire day of Ramadan? What if someone passes out faints for the entire day of Ramadan? Or what if someone becomes insane for the entire day of Ramadan? How does this affect his fasting? Which days does he have to make up? Which does he not have to make up based on his scenario, based on his case? there's a difference of opinions, there's a discussion amongst this issue and differences of opinion amongst the ulama, and we'll talk about this in the future, inshallah. The next condition, dear brothers and sisters, is the ability to fast. So fasting is only obligatory upon the one who is able to fast. So under this condition, there are several people. Number one, the ill. And those who are ill, we have those who have chronic illnesses and those who have illnesses that are not chronic. And similarly, we have the elderly. And similarly, we have pregnant women and breastfeeding women. All these people fall under the condition of having qudra, having the ability to fast. And each one of these people have their different rulings, have their different scenarios. So if one of these applies to you, then please come and ask about it. And there are many differences amongst the ulama in this regard. For example, the one who is ill and has to feed, right? He's not going to make up the days. The one who has a chronic illness, he has to feed, for example. The details regarding feeding, how much and when do you start feeding, these are all details that the scholars differed over, and so you should go back and ask the scholar that you want to get a fatwa from to give you the fatwa on this issue. Similarly, from the conditions of fasting is being a resident. And so it's not obligatory upon the traveler to fast. Again, the details regarding this, how long is the distance where you can break your fast, and if, for example, a traveler comes back home, becomes a resident in the middle of the day, do they have to abstain for the rest of the day and so on from eating and drinking? These are all details that the scholars differed over. And what if you know that you're going to travel? Well, you know you're going to travel in the middle of the day. Can you break your fast? So these are all discussions that the scholars differed over. And inshallah, we can give you the answer to a particular question if you're going to travel in Ramadan. So please get that answered before you do so. And finally, the sixth condition, dear brothers and sisters, when it comes to fasting, is the absence of menstruation and postnatal bleeding. And so, if a woman gets her blood during the middle of the day, then the scholars differ. Does she have to abstain from eating and drinking or not? And, for example, if she finishes her bleeding right before Fajr, before the next day of fasting, the scholars talked about, does she have to become pure with a shower first before fasting, or is that not a condition for the validity of her fast? There are details in this regard as well. If there's a sister that has a question regarding this, then they can come see us and we'll talk about it, inshallah. I didn't want to go through the different madhabs and opinions just as a Khater after Isha, but inshallah, if anyone, just to give you guys idea that there are details here that you need to pay attention to, and if something happens to you or is going to happen to you, then you need to ask about them. And inshallah, we'll pick up from the book next time on Friday night, inshallah. Those are the 6 conditions for fasting. Barakallahu feekum. Hada wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.